last 60 years has been a massive decline in foreign missions.
I'm sharing the gospel through church planting.
In the 1930s, if somebody gave $10 in Thai, they'd give an additional $6 in foreign missions. Today, just 28 cents.
We're doing the best we can with what we have, but I'm still not satisfied.
Over 2 billion people in the world today still have no access to the gospel.
God's crazy in love with the Thai people, and I sense His Spirit hovering over the city.
I've come to Bangkok, Thailand, to discover the truth about foreign missions. Come with me as I follow my good friend, Pastor Doug Van, in his everyday life as a frontline missionary.
I prayed for God's biggest dream, and He gave me this city of 12 million. Welcome to my world.
Today, we're heading downtown to go to the hospital. Nicole and Andrew are student missionaries on Doug's team, and the fastest way to get there is by river taxi. Yep, a boat. Don't worry, nobody's sick. We're going because the Thailand Adventist Mission is teaming up with the Bangkok Adventist Hospital to put on a large health expo in downtown Bangkok in just a few weeks. Bangkok is built on a swamp and is sinking at a rate of about 2 inches every year. These canals were designed for drainage, defense, and transportation. There were so many canals at one time that Bangkok was known as the Venice of the East. They were much more popular back before all the blacktop roads were put in, and they're still faster to some parts of the city today. I first rode a river taxi in 1969 with my parents, who were returning missionaries from New Guinea. I was 5 at the time, but I still remember the kids swimming, laughing, and waving at us. Back in '69, there were 3 million people living in Bangkok, but today, there's around 4 times that many. And yet now there are fewer resources and fewer missionaries to reach all those extra people. How in the world can we accomplish this task? Pastor Doug thinks that the key may be through the Thais' rising interest in healthy living.
Okay, we're here now at Bobay Clothing Market. We're on our way to the hospital.
Along with the newfound prosperity comes new health problems like diabetes and heart disease, which could be the open door God uses to show His love to the precious Thai people.
Would you like to buy a pineapple? Special price. Only 20 baht. We're on our way to the hospital now to plan this upcoming health expo. So we have to walk through this clothing market. Now we're going through the fruit market. And so you got to watch out here because it's kind of a place, call it a foreigner trap. These are good. Kilo la chao dai.
Kilo la 50.
Okay.
Okay.
Mangoes are incredible here, and you can see actually every variety here. This is a mango shop, and every variety here is delicious. I don't know what they're called, but my wife and my family, they love these kinds.
Supan Buli.
Just don't want to get crushed in that area.
Not only has Bangkok's population increased dramatically, but the population of the whole world has nearly doubled since my parents came home in 1969. But while the world's population increases, we are seeing a rapid decrease in the number of long-term missionaries and foreign mission giving. And people that live over here feel the effect and the lack every day. But they've also found the secret of true joy, which is service and giving of yourself, so that others may live.
Welcome to the hospital. It's an island in the city, and like Nicole said, it's a jungle.
Bangkok Adventist Hospital was founded back in 1937 and now has 200 beds and a full-time school of nursing. Nicole is a graphic designer and she's drawn up some really great design ideas for the hospital marketing team to look over.
We're here at the marketing department of the Bangkok Adventist Hospital, and we're here for a meeting with some ladies. But as you can tell, they're not here. We're late.
That's not a lady.
Yeah, no. So she's asked me today to help translate for you as the designer.
Oh, great.
Yeah, oh great is right. Yeah, oh great. So anyway, this is the kind of the idea. อธิบายภาษาไทยภาษาอังกฤษได้ไม่ก่อนอาจารย์แน็กช่วยได้ Okay, so alright, she's giving me this.
We're trying to get her to speak English.
This is what the Thai is called Gring Jai. She's being modest with her ability. Right, Chai? What they're asking for some support with is what is going to be on those panels.
Okay, these are just rough sketches of ideas you could try. So this one is using street signs maybe, and you could point them with arrows towards healthy living. And then another one is using maybe science and like the periodic table of elements. So discover your elemental health here. You understand? Yeah? Okay, just making sure. Okay, just so I don't talk too fast. Okay, slowly. Very slowly. Okay, and this one, we're trying travel as a theme. We have your ticket to a healthier future. I was thinking maybe sort of a globe. And each booth is like a different destination. So people could maybe get stamps in their passport, like a check. And this one is sort of just basic colors. So trying health is colorful, color your life. And so each letter, new start, would be a different color. And then you could try that. Yeah, that's a very simple one. Yeah, let me see. Yeah.
The Thais love to have fun, and so that way, if you have, if you choose that as a theme, then that way we are helping to play, so that way it's interactive. And so when people come, they learn the Wikiasat, they learn the science, and then they also have some they have fun. So I think he landed on a winner. They liked it.
That's good.
Behind that door over there is an American frontline missionary, the only physician that I know of who's passed his Thai boards, and he prays with the Buddhist patients, and he's making a soul-winning difference here in the city.
And where are they who will spread your love to the lonely ones everywhere? And where are they who will give their lives to search for the sheep that are lost?
Today we're heading to the MBK shopping center, and instead of going by boat, Pastor Doug has chosen to go by motorbike taxi and then the SkyTrain. As of 2008, more than half the people in the world live in cities, and so we must go and spend time in the cities in order to reach them. Yeah, the cities aren't the easiest places to feel spiritual, but God is here. He's moving in people's lives, and many are developing a hunger for something they don't know how to fill. And I've come to believe that the most effective way to witness for Christ is to just live around people that have never met a Christian before. There are thousands of communities right here in Bangkok, just like that, waiting.
We're going to help plan this health fair that's coming up at one of Bangkok's largest and most heavily populated places. So come with us. This is Bernard, and he's one of our friends. I was introducing him to the team, and I wanted him to say, find out what's he doing here. And I introduced you as a missionary, but you correcting me.
Well,
So what's the definition of a missionary?
Well, actually it's true, I'm a missionary, but it's not the reason why I came to Bangkok. It's not my profession, put it that way.
So your profession doesn't let you be a missionary?
Has to be a missionary also.
See, Bernard here, who is from Germany, and he's a church member, very active at the English church, has a great heart to proclaim the message of Jesus Christ among the Thai people. And he's pushing to, Pastor Ben, how are we doing with our media? How are we doing with our websites? And so our layman, he's one of our supportive laymen. But when I interviewed him at this BTS station, and I introduced you to him as a missionary, because I know that he has this burden to proclaim the gospel, he says, no, I'm not a missionary. Because I find that this attitude that unless I'm paid by the church, unless I have the official, card and there's a vote and action, people don't see themselves, our church members don't see themselves as the ones who are, their role of proclaiming the gospel. And so here, he is a missionary because he is one who is sent. God has called him, number one, to be a Christian. Number two, God has called him to have grace and to have mercy. And he's given him all these showers of blessings. So he's been a recipient. Now the missionary, he's now to be a messenger and an ambassador for Christ, and to go and send that out to his business colleagues and the other people that he has influence and contact with who've never heard the name of Jesus Christ.
So who is a missionary?
The missionary is the one who is called by God, and that's everyone. All believers are missionaries.
You have anything to back that up?
I think that Matthew 28, verses 17 through 20, is the one that is where I would like to, point people to. Because here, and the reason why I include 17 through 20, and a lot of people don't like to use that, is because Jesus gathers the 12 disciples to the mountain, and then they all fall down and worship him, but then the next phrase is very key. It says, and some doubted. We always like to blame doubting Thomas as, well, he's the skeptic among us, he's the cynical one, he wants to see things, evidence, and he wants, things in black and white. But the Greek there is very clear that it was more than Thomas, as well as that, and this is where I apply it to in our lives today and into my life, that Jesus then goes into the call to go to the world, to go to the globe, and then to proclaim his message. Who does he give this Great Commission to? He gives it to everyone, even those of us who say, like Bernard did here, he's like, well, really, I'm not called. But I have doubts about myself. I have doubts in I have questions. I don't have everything all figured out. But even to those people, Jesus Christ calls us. Jesus Christ calls even the people who don't feel that they've been called to then proclaim the message that Jesus Christ loves them, he's coming back, and to prepare this planet for his soon return.
So I don't see that in the church. We think that the pastor's the one that's supposed to do that work. We pay him for it.
It's true that disease is global. That there's this attitude, we gotta that attitude's got to change, because our role as pastors is to then help train the church members like Bernard here, like you, that we are then to, based on your skills and interests and how God has wired you and has given you interests and skills, abilities, all the experiences, as even dreams and imagination, that we are then to unleash and to have and support you in going out to spread the gospel. Not that I have to do everything as the paid employee.
I grew up in the church. I've never been trained to give a Bible study.
I keep hearing you say that, but I just want to, sometimes it just makes me want to hit you, because you actually you've been trained, but you may not have known it. Because how many Sabbath school classes have you been to?
Thousands.
Okay, and how many times did you see your teacher open the Bible and then address, you know, and how many, you know, address real questions or, you know, things like that? How many evangelistic meetings have you attended?
Hundreds.
Okay, and so this is where you have had a chance to open God's Word and see how the truths for today then can be applied to real life people and their real life questions. Then and then how many times, how many sermons have you listened to?
On countless.
All right, and so this is where that training has, in some ways, has been informal. You know, you haven't sat down in a formal class, paid your tuition, you know, gotten grades, given a test, and maybe we should do it that way. You know, there are some of those times where, you know, that formal education, people will then feel, well, I'm now a certified missionary. You know, I have my little diploma and I got an A from missionary school. But the reality of it is that our life is missionary training school, life. And so this is where it's been my experience that whether you're a businessman, a housewife, a college student, God is working in your heart to use you in these last days to then proclaim His message. Mm-hmm. And if you don't do it, because it's like a puzzle, if we don't engage, there's going to be gaps. And God in His sovereignty, God in His plan, gives us the privilege of partnering with Him to proclaim the message and to live it. But if we don't, then there's going to be a gap there, and God's going to have to, you know, try to, you know, work things out.
So I don't really like what you're saying, because you're saying that I have been trained, I just haven't taken the initiative to put that training into practice.
Yeah, well, I mean, many are called, but many are lazy. Okay, let's rephrase that. Many are called, but, you know, few go. And why? And maybe that's you know, instead of just blaming you, John, maybe what we should do is that we need to be the ones who commission people like you, people like Bernard, you know, my son, my kids, you know, our community, our church members. We need to commission them and give them permission to go.
Is there any opportunity here in Thailand to do something like that, or in other countries?
You know, my dream is that this city be filled with missionaries, and this is where, you know, whatever it takes. You know, I've got calls right now that are unfilled through the Adventist Volunteers website. You know, for graphic designers, for video people, for lawyers to teach English at a law school. You know, you know, again, these are short-term calls for missionaries. But then it could be long-term, of course. But this is where I think many people don't know the need. Many people don't know the need. And so they think, well, I'm not a pastor, so what can I do? And so it's like, well, Doug, you're the pastor, and so we're paying our tithes and offerings, and so you're going for us. Mm-hmm. Where actually, I think God is calling each one of us to go to where He wants us to go. Mm-hmm. And the need is tremendous overseas. Mm-hmm. But does that mean we neglect the work back home? And that's where how I you know, resolve that question is like, some people say, well, we should focus at home, or we should focus overseas. And it's like, well, how about we focus on Christ, and then Christ will work on people's hearts to then those who need to go overseas will go, as long as they're obedient, and then those who are called to serve in our homelands, wherever those may be, then they're called by God too. And so instead of trying to make this dichotomy, if we you know, separation, we need to be able to, you know, say we are united in Christ in our mission, whether that's overseas or at home.
Yeah, and the work overseas, we're told, will help the work at home.
Yeah, Ellen White does talk about the reflex action, where when we invest our life and energy and our interest and imagination in the work overseas, then we receive this reflex action.
Which is positive.
The Reflex Action, yes, that is correct.
For the last 60 years, we've been focusing more and more on our work at home.
Well, how's that worked?
It hasn't.
Yeah, and so that's where you know I know
We've lost our youth.
well, and that's one reason why I've really it's been my burden is to mentor and to train the young adults and to train the young people to say you can make a difference. And whether it's my own kids or the college students from around the world who've joined us here in Bangkok or through our other volunteer programs, even involving the Thai young adults and college students or high school students, to get them engaged that you mean I can do something now. You can put a 10-year-old and they can be involved in missions now in a small way, and so that or you can as long as they're in a structured environment where like what we did yesterday with the the rice giveaway and the children's ministry program and the home visitation and prayer ministry. I mean, we had your daughter. She's 8-year-old, and my daughter Hannah, she's 11, and then we had Kaya, she's 5 or 6, and so what did they do? So they sang songs. You should have seen the joy that these 3 girls they brought to the homes when we were going visiting in the slum. That as they were visiting the grandmas and grandpas and who couldn't make it out to the community program. They brought great joy. And one grandma, she just saw the girls there, and so she just came and gave them hugs.
Wow.
And so that that kind of ministry that a kid can do, that we stuffy adults,
Yeah. and in Thailand,
we can't do that,
where
so.
it's 97% Buddhist, that opens doors.
Yeah, well, and that's what it's going to take. It's that ground-to-ground saturation, and so that's why we need more people. We got to get on this train.
More than 500,000 people ride these trains every single day. That's more people than the entire population of Sacramento, California. So this is the poor missionary country?
We're told to go everywhere. This place is the biggest, or one of the biggest malls here in the country. I don't think we're supposed to be filming here, but we'll see what we can do. Okay, so we're on our way to the 8th floor to meet with the mall management. I don't know where I'm going, so
This place is like a massive department store with around 2,000 shops where you can find anything from perfume to t-shirts to cell phones, and 100,000 people coming through every day.
this is the biggest mall in Thailand, and they're going to see your design. Welcome to the real world. So we do your best. The Lord's opened this door, and so the Lord's given you insight, and so you just say, here's some ideas.
Tell me about this Thai word I've been hearing a lot. Mai Pen Rai.
No problem. This word, Mai Pen Rai, is, let's ask the Thais here. Pom Rien Pasa Thai. Ani Pom Ru Wela Oxian, or Ani Mi Kam Mai Pen Rai. Ani Mi Kwamai Anai Bang.
I mean, never mind.
Never mind.
It's not so polite.
It's not so polite?
Yes, 50-50.
Oh, so how would you say it so it's more polite?
It's more polite. It mean, I think, for me, my penrai cup is
Oh,
better.
so krap. So add the male classifier at the end. So
Yeah.
Mai Pen Rai krap.
Cup, yes.
So
But then,
You have good English.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
see Nicole give a presentation. Here's a photo of where the Lord has provided this health expo, and it's going to be right where? But they don't have the little shrine there.
No, that one that invaded my design.
I just as a curiosity time when I came here before, I was able to then ask one of the people who operate like the bathrooms. I said, how many people come here a day? And she said, in my bathroom alone, about 10,000 a day. 10,000 people a day use her bathroom.
That's a lot of people, but when we look at Christ's ministry, we see him going to where the masses of people were also, to the main thoroughfares of travel, the big city centers where they gathered for business or health or pleasure. He did this in order to bring salvation to them, rather than waiting for them to come to him. Now this is the area where they're planning to set up a large tent in just a few weeks' time, and Nicole's training in graphic design is really helpful in arresting the attention of the people.
We spent the last 3 hours building relationships with the mall administration and the leadership team. When I first arrived, it was the Lord put a dream in my heart to do something here downtown, that where everyone is. You can just look around us, and there's thousands of people. And it's exciting to see that 4 years later, after God put this dream in my heart to do something in a public setting downtown Bangkok, to actually see it come to reality. We were going to do it over there, but you can see there's a little spirit shrine, or a big spirit shrine. So instead, they invited us to come to this side of the mall.
I think it's a little narrower than we were looking at before, so a little less elbow room for people. But I think that the sign situation is actually a lot better. We don't have to pay for stands. We can use, if we get permission, these built-in stands that are kind of along the side of the walkway. And I think those look a lot nicer than they would if we just popped them up. It's all built for you. It's kind of a nice area.
You've been here 3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah.
And you are doing major design, the biggest design project that the Bangkok Adventist Church has ever done.
No pressure, right?
No pressure. But, I mean, you had looked in the AVS call book, or Student Missionary call book.
Yeah.
And there was one call for a designer.
Yeah, this is the only one.
You know anything about that call?
Yeah, I was praying. I was praying to the Lord for to send a missionary designer.
I've never heard that term before, missionary designer.
Well, we're told, I mean, you just look around the city, and through design, you have to arrest the attention of the masses. And so this is something where it's through this art form, or through this discipline, this skill. And I think actually it's a calling from God, that to how do you take concepts and then to communicate them to the masses, so then that way people, instead of selling handbags or stuff that's going to burn anyway, watches and cars and stuff like that, to actually communicate something that's going to last for 1 billion years or so.